Madam President, everyone enters public service hoping that they can make a difference. But few have the ability or the fortune to do as much good as Senator Dick Durbin has over his long and storied career. Since stepping into these halls of Congress more than 40 years ago, Senator Durbin has fought passionately for his constituents back home in his beloved Illinois and Americans all across the country. And while so many of us have already benefited from his extraordinary work, both knowingly and unknowingly, his legacy will continue to improve the lives of Americans for many years to come. To know Senator Durbin is to understand that he is as decent and as principled as leaders come. He is dogged in his fight for fairness and justice, but humble in sharing the credit for all of his successes. He's willing to work with everyone, but will never compromise his values for anyone. Over the years, he's picked some very difficult but worthy fights, and he's won time after time, paving the way for cleaner air on airplane flights, leading the fight against torture, lifting up the voices that are too often left behind in Washington. A trial attorney by training, Senator Durbin could never look away from injustice, no matter how pervasive or how entrenched. No challenge was too daunting. He felt an obligation to try to fix it. Outraged by the conduct of the war on drugs that had imprisoned generations of black and brown men without a meaningful path to rehabilitation, he worked for years to pass the Fair Sentencing Act and the First Step Act. Those laws have since helped to reduce overcrowding in prisons, lower criminal recidivism, and revitalize communities across the country. Shocked by the plight of dreamers who spent their lives calling America home but without the papers to prove it, Senator Durbin has been on the front lines of the push to put them on a path to citizenship. It's a fight that still continues and one that I know Senator Durbin will keep at for as long as it takes. Anyone who served in this body long enough knows that there are those votes that test your resolve and weigh heavily on your conscience. And for so long, Senator Durbin has been a uniquely consistent voice of moral clarity and conscience, not just when it's easy or when it's obvious, but especially when it's hard and even when it's lonely. In 2002, he was among a small group of senators who voted against the invasion of Iraq, cautioning against the dangers of acting hastily on fear rather than fact. Years later, in the throes of the war on terror, Senator Durbin became an outspoken critic of the United States government's use of torture in foreign prisons. In both instances, he was criticized and condemned at the time. In both instances, history has rendered his judgment as the right and patriotic one. It has been one of the true privileges of my career to serve as his chief deputy whip and to watch him work his magic during floor debates and in the Judiciary Committee. He is a gentleman of the Senate through and through. I'll never forget the time he took to talk about my dad's legacy on this very floor. And I know that he's shown that kind of thoughtfulness and care to so many, even when facing his own loss. I'm lucky to call him a mentor and a friend, someone I've learned as much from and relied on for counsel and perspective over many years. The good news for the country, for me, and for all of us colleagues is that Senator Durbin's work here in the Senate is far from over. We are lucky to be able to count on his leadership and example, as always, in the 2 years ahead. But for now, I want to thank Senator Durbin, his family, especially his wife Loretta, and his excellent staff for their decades of extraordinary service to the state and to the nation. We are all better for it. I yield the floor.